It's a orange juice.
What's up everyone, this is Baby Yarn. We've played hundreds of graveyard games. Every game we evolved our decks to counter each other, so our decks may not necessarily be good on ladder or challenges. But I hope these gameplays can show you real examples of how graveyard can be used. The developer build didn't change with the most recent balance update, so none of the balances took effect in these plays. A 3 elixir Skarmy would have been excellent to counter the graveyard. Let's get into the first replay where we both played a Hog Cycle deck. Right off the bat, I start off with an aggressive Mortar. Mana counters it with a Mega Minion, so I react with an Ice Spirit. This allows my Mortar to get one extra hit off. That's typically how I play Mortar. As long as it can land one hit, it was a good play. I don't want his Mega Minion to reach my tower, but at the same time, I don't want to use my Zap. So I pull it with my Mini P.E.K.K.A, trying to set myself up for a graveyard combo. Mana aggressively responds with Goblins and Hog. I zapped the Goblins early because I wanted to chip the tower with my Zap. With no direct counter to his Hog, since I wasted my Mini P.E.K.K.A, I'm forced to use my Miner, which isn't too bad since he's almost as strong as a Knight. With my Miner at full health, and Mana having used his guards, I plant the graveyard, but he has Goblins which shuts it down. He goes in with an aggressive Hog since he knows my Mini P.E.K.K.A is still out of rotation. I have to cycle my Ice Spirit to get my Mini P.E.K.K.A. His Hog manages to get one hit in, and his residual troops rip my Mini P.E.K.K.A apart. Mana plants an Ice Golem in the back, then he pairs it with a Mega Minion. This can be trouble because my deck is really weak against air. I used my Ice Golem to pull his Mega Minion, and suddenly his Ice Golem is no longer more threatening than a puppy. He's gonna slowly chip me out if I don't change my play. With my Elixir advantage, I go for an aggressive Hog Graveyard combo. Usually guards would have countered the graveyard perfectly, but with my Hog tanking for the tower, the skeletons did a great job supporting the Hog and distracting the guards and damaging the tower. With that single push, I took out his entire tower, but at the trade-off that his Hog took out my tower. With the field reset, I plant my Mortar a bit early because the Ice Golem will be in the blind spot by the time it finishes loading. Mana is a bit slow on the Goblins, and that's gonna cost him. The Ice Golem does no damage, but I need to take out his Hog. I'd consider that a successful Mortar plant. It got one shot off the tower and forced Mana to react to it. With my Mini P.E.K.K.A going in hot, I plant a graveyard. Then I wait 2 seconds and plant my Ice Golem in the center. With my Ice Golem out of the picture, I send in my Miner, and he distracts the units long enough to clear a path for my Mini P.E.K.K.A to land a hit on the tower. I planted Defensive Mortar, low enough that it's far away, but close enough that it pulls his Hog. With the field reset, Mana tries to predict a Hog plant, but I went for a Graveyard Miner combo instead. For 8 Elixir, a Fireball would have done the same damage for much less cost. Mana overcommits his guards on offense. I know his only counter to graveyard are Goblins, so I save my Zap for that. And that is good game. What we learned is that playing against graveyard changes your playstyle. Notice how Mana never used Goblins with his Hog. He was very conscious in saving his guards or Goblins for my graveyard, but slipped at the very end and forgot to save his guards. Let's check out what we could have done better. Right at the start of the game, Mana should have planted the Ice Golem one tile in the other lane. This would kite the Mini P.E.K.K.A, shutting it down completely. Right here I zapped the Hog, thinking it would be just enough. I misjudged the health bar and that cost me, because that was my only counter to his Goblins. And now I am on his rotation. But lucky for me, he misplays those Goblins and the Mortar takes them out. Sitting at 10 Elixir, Mana should have used an Inferno Tower to tank my Mortar. It's the second highest health defensive building, and one Mortar Shell wouldn't have dented its health. Right here I used Zap on the Inferno, when it could have been used on the Goblins. My attack would have done a bit more damage if I wasn't so eager to zap his already dead Inferno. Moving on to the second game, we usually play a meta deck to test the new cards, so I use the cycle deck I'm comfortable with and he's using a giant meta deck with a graveyard. He pumps up, so I go for the pump and rush his tower. He's going to lose some tower health or the pump. My princess takes care of the incoming guards and Mega Minion. Mana counters my princess with a musketeer. He goes in with a giant counter push, but my log wasn't enough to push the musketeer onto the Inferno Tower, so I had to zap her. I want to chip him out, so I sent a princess in the front. But he has a log. He pumped up, so now I'm really in trouble. He has more elixir than me, and he has 2 pumps on the map. I need to get rid of that pump at all costs, so I plant my Miner in the gamble position. But he knew I was gonna do that, and he shuts down my Miner. Now it's really bad, and he has a Mega Minion coming my way with full elixir. My leftover Inferno Tower had just enough health to take out the Mega Minion. Otherwise that could have been a game-ending push, all while my Lumberjack just shreds the graveyard with his speed. The Giant is coming in hot at full health approaching the tower, so I have to plant another Inferno Tower. Since he's running a giant deck, I'm constantly applying pressure. In this case, a split push. Even though my elixir was low, I was confident I could defend because my Inferno was still up. I plant an aggressive Princess plant, and she shaves off 300 health from the tower. I haven't made a log video yet, but watch right here where I intentionally push the 2 guards back and push 1 forward. This way the tower kills them faster, whereas if I plant them all backwards, your opponent has more time to play a tank like a miner in front. I pulled the giant with an Inferno tower at maximum distance with a 4-3 plant. Mana doesn't realize it yet, but he's playing under my rotation. I know he wants to send in a giant graveyard combo, so my Inferno acts as a zap bait, so I can safely shut down his 5 elixir graveyard with 2 elixir goblins. A misplay on my part, I didn't need to use the log. Assuming that he was going to log my goblins, I send in a prediction Ice Spirit to protect my princess. Things are looking good. I'm slowly chipping him away, and he's having a very hard time getting past my defenses. I know he's going to send in a giant with a musketeer, so I put down an early Inferno to take care of his Mega Minion. Right here, I played an Ice Spirit just slightly out of range of the Mega Minion, but close enough that it would absorb 1 shot from the musketeer. This time, Mana told me he realized he was playing under my rotation, so he chose to save his zap for my goblins instead of the Inferno tower. Realizing that one fact during the game, his graveyard was able to deal over 700 damage to my tower. He plants a defensive giant to absorb my lumberjack and Ice Spirit. His Mega Minion saves his giant from taking too much damage, so I'm forced to play an Inferno, sending the miner to the elixir collector and pressuring him with my princess. He has a lot of elixir to counter both of them. This was a very important log. It knocked the musketeer closer to my Inferno and the giant farther away from it. With my Inferno almost dead, my lumberjack is my only answer to his giant. The log is decent at preventing some damage from being done to the graveyard, but I need my goblins to prevent any chip damage. At this point, the graveyard spell was almost finished, so Mana didn't zap my goblins. With his tower really low, I just need to chip him out. My miner does over 300 damage to his tower. This is looking like a good game because I can defend his musketeer giant push with an Inferno and Ice Spirit. He really wanted to chip me out with the graveyard, but I had a lumberjack to take care of that. And goblins on the musketeer so she doesn't take out the Inferno. Even with my lumberjack there, his graveyard still managed to do over 200 damage to my tower. I plant my miner in the same spot as last time, and he's able to shut it down with a giant. I send my goblins to defend his graveyard. He zaps them, and that is good game. Let's review some misplays. Right here, Mana played a musketeer a bit high. My princess was able to damage her way too much. Reviewing at the end of the game, what ultimately cost me the game was that I didn't believe in my Inferno. I overcommitted my lumberjack. The Inferno would have taken care of the giant and Mega Minion by itself. The lumberjack was necessary and was key in defending the graveyard. Mana consciously chose not to zap my Inferno and to save it for my goblins. And that's what led to his victory. That's when I started playing on his rotation. Let's get into the third match where I play a Lava Hound graveyard deck, and Mana plays a Hog Cycle deck. He has an Inferno in this deck because he knew I was playing a Lava Hound. He starts off with a huge Ice Spirit push, so I pump up. He plants a musketeer in the back. I'm not sure what to expect, so I have a defensive tombstone. My Ice Spirit tanks 1 shot from the musketeer and freezes her, while my tombstone distracts the Mega Minion. I planted my zap as soon as I saw his mini P.E.K.K.A. Otherwise I wouldn't have zapped. With my tombstone back in rotation, it shuts down his mini P.E.K.K.A. Our hands reset, and I'm confident he doesn't have anything to deal with my elixir collectors. This is when I realize I just need to keep pumping up and defending, then go for a really big push. The Mega Minion can hit hard, so I zapped it so it wouldn't touch my tower. Mana plants another musketeer in the back. I plant my Lava Hound in the back, knowing that by the time it reaches the front, it'll tank the musketeer. He splits his mini P.E.K.K.A. on the other lane, but my tombstone shuts it down. Then I plant a musketeer to finish the mini P.E.K.K.A. and take out his musketeer. While my Lava Hound is on the tower, I send in a graveyard, but it was a bit slow. By the time the Lava Hound pops, the tower retargets onto the skeletons, and with his guards inside the graveyard spell, my spell only managed to deal 200 damage. What did end up doing the most damage, however, was my musketeer. So all in all, the push was worth it. He sends in a hog to support his musketeer, so I plant my Lava Hound to tank her, with Tombstone and my other musketeer sniping the hog. It doesn't even get 1 hit on the tower. With the leftover skeletons, it destroys his musketeer. Knowing he has no counters to my pump, I put down another one. Then I banked even more elixir by planting a Tombstone. His hog and guard stand no chance against Tombstone and musketeer. Once again, my Lava Hound tanks his musketeer. I'm going in with a big push with the Lava Hound and musketeer, and I'm almost sitting at full elixir. I plant a prediction graveyard to distract his Inferno tower. Then I stack up my musketeers and plant an aggressive tombstone to protect my musketeers from a potential Mega Minion. And that is a victory for me. Let's check what I could have done better. Right here, I could have planted my musketeer higher so she wouldn't have to walk towards his musketeer. Overall, what secured my victory were the positive elixir trades and pumping up. Since the first skeleton doesn't appear for 2.5 seconds, you have to predict an inferno. This prediction graveyard made it impossible for him to counter my lava hound. Rolling into the fourth match, I'm playing a modified trifecta. Mana is playing this Frankenstein Freeze Bowler Hog Graveyard deck. It was actually custom built to beat my deck after he lost 5 games in a row. He starts off with an aggressive Hog Rider, so I counter with Tombstone. Thinking I can get some momentum out of those skeletons, I planted a Valkyrie to tank. The Ice Wizard prevents some damage. Sitting at 10 elixir, I don't want to commit a musketeer too close to the front yet, so I plant her in the back and defend the Ice Wizard with an Ice Spirit. His plan was to use his Ice Wizard to tank my tower and to cast the graveyard. My musketeer isn't quite enough to take out all of the skeletons with the Ice Wizard tanking. Mana plants a crazy good freeze, forcing me to play my Valkyrie. That freeze alone allowed Graveyard to deal 1500 damage to my tower. Mana plays a bowler and it just absolutely destroys my deck. I played the Hog to distract the Ice Spirit and bowler, while my musketeer takes care of the Hog. Surrounding the bowler with skeletons, it takes care of him. Not able to afford any damage done to my tower, I pull the Mega Minion with my Tombstone. His bowler just shuts down my hopes and dreams. He casts a graveyard on the other side, hoping to catch me off guard. A bit fast on the freeze, otherwise would have devastated my tower again. With my musketeer still alive, I send in a Hog to tank for her, all while split pushing both lanes, but Mana has a bowler to shut down the push. Then he counters on the left side and casts a graveyard. There's zero chance I'm going to be defending that. With 20 seconds left, if those Hogs don't make it through, I'm dead. He plants a bowler and that is good game. Let's see why I lost this game. I knew he had a graveyard, but I didn't know he had freeze. The single play in the beginning practically took out my tower. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more quality OJ.